Hello, my friends. This is the 40 Days to PMP Exam Success, but it's the express version. For those of you who have said, when are you going to come out with more videos? The videos are not the problem. It's coming out with all the quizzes and all those great questions, all that content. So it is going to take a while before I put this particular day together. But for those of you who just want to get ahead, let's get in and let's begin rolling with it. I will put this version on my personal YouTube, and all the other more detailed versions, you'll find those on the Praizion channel. All right, so let's jump in to the next day at hand. We just got done with day 22. This is day 23. Let's get into it.
Hey folks, how you doing? Your buddy Phil here. Welcome to 40 Days to PMP Exam Success. I hope you're doing well, and I hope you've been doing all the studying that you know I want you to do. You know that every day I want you to open the immersion book. Every day I want you to hit the chapter that aligns with what we're studying. And you also know that every day I want you to hit those quiz questions, right? You know, every day there's a quiz in the book. Even if it's 2 questions, it does a whole lot. So I'm looking for you to do the work. All right. Today is going into the 23rd day, and it's titled Integrate Project Planning Activities. Now, reading this one right off the bat, integrate, I know it immediately sounds like plan driven, right? Sounds like predictive. And I wouldn't blame you for thinking it is predictive, because when you take a look at the enablers, it does sound rather predictive. So the first enabler under Integrate Project Planning Activities reads, consolidate the project or phase plans. Now, everything was going good until it mentioned phase. The moment it mentioned phase, you know, okay, this could be very predictive, because in the world of Agile, we generally don't do phases, we do iterations, right? So, as you're reading all this stuff, I want you to begin delineating that could be hybrid, that could be Agile, that could be predictive. And that kind of thinking is just going to help you all the more on the exam. So at a very high level, integrate project planning activities is exactly what it sounds like. Everything to do with planning needs to be integrated across the team, across the iterations, across the sprints if you're doing Scrum, whatever you want to call it. But integration is key. In the world of traditional or predictive or plan-driven, the responsibility for integration lies with the project manager. But in the world of Agile, as the PMI tells you, if you've read the Agile Practice Guide, pages 90 to 95, they tell you that the integration of the project is the responsibility and the accountability of the Scrum team, or the Agile team, if you will. You know, not everyone uses Scrum, so let's just say Agile team, right? The Agile team is responsible for the integration. Think about the places where planning in some way, shape, or form takes place. At the very beginning, you've got some authorization, right? You've got an Agile project charter. But even on top of that, before you get to the Agile project charter, you should have first had a vision, product vision, right? After your product vision, you put together a product roadmap, right? Product roadmap, and then we began thinking about release planning, and then down to iteration planning. This is all in the PMBOK guide, by the way. And then the lower level down away from iteration planning is getting into what you do on the day-to-day as a team member. So it's like peeling the different layers of an onion, right? You got to integrate all the moving parts. Release planning, iteration planning, the product roadmap, the day-to-day things you're doing as a team member. It's all integrated, and it's integrated by the team. And when I say team, I'm talking about those three responsibilities. I'm talking about the product owner, talking about the facilitator or scrum master, and the team. And don't be surprised if on the exam they don't budge from that mantra of project manager. They may not even one time mention that you have a scrum master. They may just mention that you have a project manager, right? So just be ready for language that is a little bit different from what you expect. So now you've got a good idea about what exactly this task means. This task could refer to something in the world of predictive. It could also refer to something in the world of agile. You got to keep that in mind, okay? So let's jump a little bit deeper into the concept of integrate project planning activities. Number one, consolidate project or phase plans, and that has to do with all the other plans I mentioned from the world of agile. And then it has assess consolidated project plans for dependencies, gaps, and continued business value. So what they're saying here is whatever aspect of the project has been planned, integrate stuff and then assess to ensure that it is a cohesive, airtight plan. In other words, there are no gaps, there's no holes in the project management plan. In other words, you've got it all down pat, okay? The next thing they say here is analyze the data collected. Now, we've got to be careful when we say analyze data collected because data comes from executing. So when we say data, we could be talking about data collected to replan, right? But data, work performance data, we identify that as generally coming from the director managed project work process, don't we? So you got to keep that in mind. Like, data is a very loose word. If we're talking about integrating planning and someone's talking about data, you gotta keep that WPD, WPI, WPR hat on, and you really need to ask, okay, are we talking about data, face value, or are we talking specifically? When you read it, analyzing data collected, it's really neither here nor there. We could be using data very roughly to refer to basic form of abstraction that we're going to use for planning. But we got to be careful with it just to make sure we're focused on what data is it. This is not necessarily data being generated in executing, right? Or it could be. Maybe there's data from external that we're using. Maybe there's data from internal we're using. Maybe we're using historical data. Whatever the data, bottom line is you got to analyze and make sure that your plan is airtight. That's really what it's saying. And as you proceed through the project, you also want to make sure you are updating the plan according to the data that you're collecting. Because remember, work performance data is fuel for you to create the work performance information. And from that, you can replan these integrated plans all day long. It's just normal. But it's important that you really think through the flow. All right, next it says collect and analyze data to make informed project decisions. And I'm glad they refer to informed project decisions because now we know for sure they're talking about executing data. We're going to get that executing data and we're going to use it to make informed project decisions by converting the data to work performance information, right? Your work performance information is going to be put into a work performance report, and through the abstraction from the work performance report, the project manager and the team are going to glean what exactly could be done. What are the options based on the analyzed data? All right, so it says collect and analyze data to make informed project decisions, which is right down the monitoring and control alley. Okay, the next thing we have here, and the final one, is determine critical information requirements. So right here, what they're asking you to do is make sure you understand information requirements as far as the integration of plans, because as you're integrating, there's going to be information, and that information needs to be shared with the right individuals, the right stakeholders, the right entities. All right, so I hope this all makes good sense for you. The bottom line is you got to integrate scope plans, schedule plans, cost plans, quality plans, resource plans, communication plans, risk plans, procurement plans, stakeholder plans. Any plan that pertains to your project, you got to make sure you're integrating those plans with everything else. All right, I hope this makes good sense for you, and I really hope you have put it on your to-do list to read page 600 and no, that's not the page 90 to 95. Yeah, those pages in the Agile Practice Guide, where you have, this is how we do it in predictive, or this is what we call it as far as knowledge areas are concerned, but this is how we tackle those knowledge areas in Agile. Yeah, I 100% advise you to cover your bases in that regard. Please read pages 90 to 95. That is really going to help you get a good handle of how integration works. The other page I want you to take a look at is page 89. So all of those project management plan components, all of the plans, all of the baselines, all the other components that make up the project management plan, you got to know those, and you got to know how they affect each other. All right? Because integration is huge. I was just looking through different results I was coming across, and I realized integration can be a beast to you on the exam. So you really need to have integration down pat. All right? I hope this makes good sense. I hope you are really taking note of your weak areas, and I hope that you'll play with the questions. Questions come in right after this segment. I look forward to speaking to you again tomorrow. You take care, and bye for now.
All right, my friends, there you have it. This, again, is the express version of 40 Days to PMP Exam Success. Many of you are asking for the content. Well, I've only got one of me, so it's going to take me longer to put the questions together, to put the open-ended questions together, and to do the general edit. All right, so thank you for your patience. I would recommend that you get the PMP exam immersion book. You can get that at the Praizion website, praizion.com, as spelt on the screen. Go on down there, get the immersion book, and you will be able to study the chapters even beyond the videos that I have been coming out with. Okay, that would be my advice. I will keep coming out with these rapid express videos for those of you that are hungry to get the videos, but the detailed one that spans across open-ended questions and the more difficult questions, you gotta wait for those. All right, thank you for your understanding. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon.